check, 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 check. You ready? I have 9. Oh, 9:30. Ready to rock and roll? Good morning. Who's ever standing needs to come up here and present. It didn't work. Happy New Year. We have had a phenomenal year. A couple of things I don't have in this. This presentation was originally 114 slides. I spared you. I cut it down to 69. A couple of things I want to make sure. This is information that's not in there. There was just so much, and I cut it out. Employee scholarships. I don't know if you've heard, this last semester, the scholarship committee awarded $39,993.16. So for the 2 years we've been doing it, the scholarship committee has awarded over $101,000 to employees in scholarships. That's an incredible number. So I don't infringe upon the employee appreciation program. Guess what we're doing? You're going to start hearing a little bit more for us to continue to provide educational monies for employees. And if you're interested, please, JKV Scholarship Program, all that 100% of those dollars go to the employees. There is nothing that we touch or nothing that we take in regards to that. So I missed that slide, but I wanted to make sure everybody understood. A lot of stuff to go on. If you're new to us, and I know there's been a lot of people that are new, jkvlive@johnknox.com. Send an email if you have questions. I didn't receive any emails. I didn't receive any phone calls, any text messages, so there's no questions, right? Calls can be received at 386-456-1558 and text messages at 386-507-4236. Even after this, if you have a question, you can send a question to that and let us know. We can always go ahead, and you can also put it in Cubigo. Again, if you're new, everybody knows about VAL, right? The Village Alert Line. That's where we push information out. Do not, repeat, do not unsubscribe or cancel, in particular because one of the last slides will give you a really good reason why we're going to ask you not to do that. But we send out updates, we give Village updates, we pushed out information in regards to the chat, so the crowd is a nice crowd, so thank you for joining us. For those of you at home, you're missing out. Administration. We want to talk about this. We talk about occupancy because occupancy is what drives our numbers, and as much as we've talked about this, no margin, no mission. It doesn't make any difference what kind of services we offer or how good we really are at what we do. No margin, no mission. Independent living is 491 out of 520. You're going to say, Joe, wait, that net number is different from last year. Yes. We have units that we have combined. We have 10 apartments that we've combined, and then there are another 21, 22 cottages, address cottages, that we've taken out of services due to the flooding. We will give you an update on that also. So that's, for our campus, that's 94.4. Cottages are 280 out of 2, and this is the breakdown for independent living, 280 out of 288. Apartments, 70 out of 90. We've kind of looked at that very closely. What do we look at in regards to how small are the apartments going to get? How is occupancy? We've come to a number of about 72. Makes sense. If we can do all our combinations, 72 is the right number. Will we get there? I'm not sure. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there. Villas, 141 out of 142. Now, in addition to those, there are 5 units that are sold, 2 cottages, 2 apartments, and a villa. So there is no vacancies in the villas. Assisted living, 42 out of 49. ELF memory care, we now call this PMC. We call it Premier Memory Care, is 47 out of 64. And healthcare, Majestic Oaks, is 130 out of 135. The update in assisted living is Ramjack. If you know, 300 Hall started settling a little bit more. What we believe that had happened is due with all the storm water over years. Now, it just didn't happen with just this storm. It's happened over years and years. It washed out the bottom portion of parts of that flooring. So we had Ramjack come in and elevate that and bring that all up to where it needed to be. That was an expensive job. They did a phenomenal job with doing it. I know 2 apartments are back in order already, and they've got 2 more that they'll be finished by the end of the month. In memory care, we will have an update for you as we go along. Majestic Oaks, I am told now that 135 has gone to 150 because they have completed their renovations, and so you'll probably see their occupancy slowly continue to creep up. Important reminders. Kind of decided to change this up a little bit, not to confuse you, but to organize it in my head. Year planning, we talk about advanced directives, power of attorney, and other critical documents. There's an estate planning manual that is on Cubigo. We've gone through and we've updated that estate planning manual. So you can go ahead and download that. We looked at the new laws, we looked at changes. If there's other little things that you have input on, please reach out to Vicki, but you can get that off of Cubigo. The Red Cap program. If you don't know what the Red Cap program is, you need to find out quickly. That's your medical documents, so if anything should happen to you, EMS can grab that red tube, that tube with the red caps on the end, and give it to the emergency department. That gives them all the information they need to be able to continue to provide care for you. What's required is a power of attorney, a healthcare surrogate, living will. If you have your medications in there, that also is good. Now, the residency certification is due Friday. As of right now, there are 122 people that have not responded. I'm told it is 47 couples and 75 single people, exactly. So, do we know who you are? And do you know what we get for that, right? It is $1,000 per if you don't fill out the certificate. Now, even I can throw a really good party for $122,000. So, we encourage you. We put it as an action item for you. Please, it is this Friday. Get your information into Vicki. Vicki's going to work and do everything she can so she doesn't have to charge you. So, but don't test her. Scams, we've talked about this. You've seen this in resident counsel. You've seen this in notes that have gone out. There is always a scam going on. You know, did you know you all have been pre-approved for a loan? Yep. Yeah. And you're not taking the money. Unpaid tickets or fines, tolls, you've seen that. It's come across your cell phone. And then your warranty is expired. Did you know that? The warranty on the refrigerator in your cottage has expired. Who are you going to call? That's right, you call maintenance. Don't fall for any of this stuff. There's any warranties, all come through us. If there are unpaid tickets or fines, those are on you, but my guess is they're not going to come and get you right away to take you to jail. They're going to get around to it if they ever do. So don't ever give. It just happened to me personally. We've had a lot of stress in our family over the last number of months. My mother got on the phone and somebody from Medicare called her. Somebody from Medicare called her. And she was knowing everything that was going on. She was just frazzled. Now, she's not unlike some of you. Those people can talk, and they can get you confused really quick. She gave out information she wasn't supposed to give out. It happens. We understand that it happens. But what did she do? She called me. Like, what am I going to do about it, Mom? No, just kidding. No, we do have, if this does happen, and we can post it to Cubigo, we do have a list of things, people you need to contact, the numbers of people you need to contact. You contact Social Security, you contact Medicare, you contact your bank. We have all that list of people you can. So if it does happen, just call us and let us know, and we can send that to you. You can come pick it up, but it starts with making a phone call. So she was able to, with some help from my sister went over and helped her. She was able to freeze her credit through all the 3 credit agencies. All that stuff was done, and so limit exposure. Bad things are going to happen. It all depends on how you respond to them. And then these are just kind of community resources. For the resident directory, I'm told that has gone to print, and even the large version, see Tina. And then for guest accommodations, you're going to have to, if you get the guest unit and you want the guest unit, you got to think well in advance, because that normally stays pretty booked up. And yes, if we could find another way to add to that to allow for greater accommodations, we certainly will. But it's a first come, first serve, 1 week maximum, and it's booked up normally for 6 months in advance. Sales and marketing. This is some of the stuff, the fun stuff. This is some of the stuff that we get to kind of geek out on. Again, I took out a lot of the granular stuff, the really detailed stuff, but if you want that stuff, I can add it and send you a different presentation, and you can kind of fun through it, as I like to refer to it. Sales for 2025 were 55. You know what they were for 24? Ooh, maybe I should have offered a cash prize. No, you can't play. You want Shannon to help you? All right, Shannon, help him. 87. It was 87 for 2024. So that means occupancy moves really quick. 43 sales from new leads, 14 were contracted to move in, 12 sales were previously closed leads. What does that mean? That means we took those people all but out of our database and we closed that off. But a lot of times, Shannon and Tammy, we refer to them as Shammy sometime, is they will go ahead and dig back in there and ask them to recall. So 12 sales, which is 21% from this year, were actually closed. 27 people utilized the military discount. 13 actually attended event, 19 attended event, and 55 move-ins. So there's we go. That's why we got to 94.4 IL. And this is the fun stuff. They had 759 new and total inquiries, 501 tours. So think about that. 501 tours. On the average, the 2 salespeople were doing 2 tours every single day they worked, because there are about 220, 225 work days in a year. So they did 2 tours every single day. Average better than 2 tours. New resident referrals, and we love this, 41. Waitlist people, 78. That is 56 more than last year. What does that tell you? That tells you we have pent-up demand. Why do we have pent-up demand? Because of you. Thank you. Thank you. It's because of you. Total referrals. So out of our referrals, we also get some people maybe misaligned to where they should be. Maybe they're thinking independent living, but maybe it's more assisted living, more skilled nursing care, or somebody who's wants to go independent living has a spouse that needs to go to Majestic Oaks. They carried 103 referrals. And that doesn't include the referrals that we get from hospitals. That is just through marketing. So those are still pretty good numbers. Pat McAllister, many of you had Pat as your salesperson. Pat retired after 10 years of being with us. Lori Ray, we hired her last year. She was the kind of the receptionist marketing assistant. She has moved on. She has another opportunity for a career. And as we took over PMC, we had a sales counselor there. Her name was Tracy. Tracy has decided she is going to move on. And that's okay, because now we are going to arrange it and put the structure the way we want it. So we are actually recruiting for a sales counselor for assisted living, just assisted living, because with the 64 that we have over there, with the 60 beds or 60 occupancy that we have available here, that's 124. So we're going to have a salesperson dedicated to that. These are just marketing events. I'm just going to go through there. 63 residents attend. They launched an open house. I know you're going to ask me, Joe, when you're going to do an open house on memory care on PMC. The board toured the building yesterday. They were very, very pleased. We're trying to figure out how many people are we going to get for an open house. So I know we're looking at 2, possibly 3 days at various times to allow people to go over there. We want to make sure we coordinate that with with transportation, to cut down on traffic and people driving over there. Fall Festival had 79 guests, 310 residents participated. Eddie, again for the second year in a row, is the top salesperson. Liz increased her tours. Hannah has successfully completed, and with that, Hannah has actually taken a promotion. She was the move-in coordinator. We don't have a lot of people moving in now because that's now kind of supplemental. She decided to kind of step into a combination of her old role and Lori's. And so Hannah is now an administrative assistant, and she's taken on both jobs to be able to manage those. So we appreciate Hannah stepping up and doing really cool things for us. Accounting. If you didn't know it, we're in the middle of audit. We keep year-end open. We keep December financials open, and normally until about the end of, we do a soft close, but we'll keep that open until January 31st. And then because they want to make sure that they catch everything, especially this year with the transaction with purchasing a memory care and all those bills and all those accruals, we want to make sure that we catch that. But we're expecting a draft of our audit by the middle of March. December year-end close is now in process, and we just talked about that. Memory care, this is just, as we go through the different departments, each have a quick little update about memory care because they're all working together and they all have their own little part to bring them into the JKV family. Payroll, we've taken on the payroll, we've taken on the vendor transactions. All invoices are being paid by us. Resident billing, we're still in the process of getting that set up. But at the end of a couple of times a month, what they do is they have a reconciliation. If they have some revenue, they forward it to us. If they have bills that they've received that belong to us, we take care of that. And then it's just for your edification, we have now they're classified as Department 14. Now that means nothing to you, but let me explain. Independent living is 10, assisted living is 12. They will be 14 and Majestic Oaks is 15, and then all the rest of the departments fall behind. So if we ever hear somebody say, well, that's Department 14, they're referring to memory care. Monthly service fees have gone, as you know, have increased. Now I want to make sure that you understand this. When we go through some things, if new people moving in after January 1 did not, and I want to make sure I'm transparent about this, and new people moved in after January 1 did not get a 2.9% increase or a 2.99% increase. They got a 6% increase. Why? Well, operationally, we fall behind on revenue. Now, I'm not one to penalize you, and I'm not one to penalize anybody, but one of the strategies is to, as we turn over units, we gain that little let's call it 3%. Well, Joe, that's not going to do much. Nope, it's not. But now over the next 5 years, 7 years, at a turnover rate of somewhere about 45, 50 units a year, that will make a significant impact. Does that impact you? No. Just people that moved in after January 1. So if you hear somebody, well, I pay more than you, then yeah, they probably do, and they just moved in after January 1. FEMA, we're still playing with Milton and Ivan. Surprise, I know that all surprises you. We have received most of our insurance money on this, which is just over $1.6 million. And we'll get to the rest of that story in a minute. Human Resources, this is kind of fun stuff. They just did a job fair. They've done a couple of job fairs, and they just did a job fair. They had, I may mess up the numbers, I'm going to be pretty close though. They interviewed 57 people at a job fair. So a job fair on campus that generates 57 applicants is pretty incredible. Well, they extended offers to 37. And then they're going to do another one. The city do one the 24th at the City of DeLand Job Fair. A couple of job fairs that we've done have been incredibly popular. Why? Well, we now have in excess of 653 employees. 424 of them are full-time, and 229 are part-time. This is the breakdown. As you can imagine, Majestic Oaks by far is the largest department, and then dining services, and then the rest kind of fall in line. Memory care is third, then assisted living, I believe, falls fourth or something like that. But 653 employees. That's a lot of people to chase after. Now here's the fun stuff. What was our turnover rate last year? Our turnover rate as a campus was 20.38. Now, that may not mean much to you. You have 653 employees and your turnover 20.38. That's a lot of people. But let's dig a little bit farther into numbers. Majestic Oaks has 233 employees, and they turned over 21.37, which is kind of unheard of. National hospital turnover rate in 24 was 18.3. Healthcare overall ranges from 18.3 to 22. Senior living providers normally in excess of 30%. Nursing homes is 53.3. So when you start looking at the numbers and you start making comparative numbers, that is pretty good. Now why? We do a survey, just like we survey you with a resident satisfaction survey. We do an employee satisfaction survey, what our employees recommended. That goes into what they refer to as a employee net promoter score. That score is 91%. What does that mean? 91% of our employees would recommend working here. 91. Now, you can look through this all you want, but we'll just go down to the bottom one. If you're above 80, you're considered a world-class organization. We're considerably above 80%. So that is something, again, we're proud of. I don't touch the numbers. Numbers are given to me, and these are from employee surveys because we do our employee surveys. This is the other thing. Now, how did we do that? I didn't. This credit goes to the directors and managers and to human resources. 30-day onboarding experience. We do 30, 60, 90-day feedback surveys. 98% of the surveys came back positive after 30 days. 94 after 60 days. So, if somebody tells you I'm mistreating them, they're falling into that 6% group. It's a joke, guys. Come on, work with me here. So that too, those benchmarks that we have set are PDG, as I like to refer to it, pretty damn good. I can tell you they like leadership, residents, They like the job that they do. Where did we score the worst? Compensation. We have a plan to address that. But in the world nowadays, with wages moving so quickly, because wages, this is what we've noticed has happened, wages moved up quickly, and then they've come back down. And they've kind of settled into that. And we didn't jump after when they kept going up. We've kind of balanced that out. So a lot of that is leadership, the job that they do, what they enjoy, feeling supported by the organization, feeling supported by their supervisor, all those. I think there's about 20 questions or so that they put in there. So it's really good. Great question. Thank you. Supervisor support metrics, 30-day supervisor role. So we break that down between regular employees. 30 days are 97%, 60 days is 93% for an average of 94. Again, I could told you could geek out on this stuff all day. Employee newsletter. Last year we started an employee newsletter. The feedback that we've received on it has been incredible. If you haven't seen it, it's normally just 2 pages, front and back. I think HR has done a phenomenal job with that. Satisfaction rating with employees, again, is in excess of 90%. So all these little things that we do contribute to employees feeling part of the organization and feeling connected. Of course, it certainly does help with the employee appreciation program, helping them feel connected to you also. So we've worked really hard over the last few years to make sure that we improve these scores. So then what it does, performance achievement, 653 employees. There were 135 terminations for 20.3%. They were expecting, you see the 123 were avoided terminations. They were expecting an additional 123 based upon the number of employees that we had. So we almost cut what our expectation is by half. So if you look at the industry, 653 employees, that would be 258 terminations that they were expecting. We had 135. That's what that means. That saves the organization somewhere in excess of $5.7 million between onboarding, lost time, lost momentum in doing the job. And there were 233 employees with 53 terminations. They avoided 71. They were expected to be in excess of 124. All that make sense? Yes? Or have I lost you? Some of you are kind of glassy-eyed on me. That's a lot of money. So Majestic Oaks is performing in a top 5% nationally with nursing homes. So the breakdown again is 91% employee promoter score, 98% onboarding satisfaction, a 5-year accumulation value. Between that is a savings of $41 to $50 million just in labor. Memory care. This is the clinical portion of it. They're working operational, regulatory, pharmacy. There are a lot of things to do. We're converting their residents over to our pharmacy. Does that make sense? And we do that just like we ask. We provide our pharmacy for Majestic Oaks and for Oakview Suites. We would also do it for our memory care. So they go on to our pharmacy, start effective February 1. February 2, I think, is actually the date. But fun stuff, 330 visits from home health, 40 patients in December, 71 were RN visits. These are just the breakdown. Again, I can geek out on this. I'm not going to waste a lot more time on that. But we're recruiting an additional therapist. Now, talk about wages that have gone over the top. Any therapist position is in very, very high demand. And with how well we've done with outpatient therapy, home health therapy, how well we do at Majestic Oaks, we're in need of an additional physical therapist. This one we want to put in specifically more home health. The sustained growth for extended care, this was the extended care program that we started in May. That was 1,102 visits, and companion visits were 716. The nurse practitioner increased her visits in the month of December by 50. She had 220 visits. That's about 10 visits a day. I didn't take into account her vacation time, so it's probably higher than that. Now, Martha, the nurse practitioner, also doesn't just see you. She also sees employees at no cost to the employee. And then she also goes to Majestic Oaks and Oakview Suites and sees patients there. That's a lot of work. We keep her pretty busy. Outpatient therapy, 67 clients. They've done a phenomenal job of growing outpatient. They've had PT has grown by 10, occupational therapy has grown by 4, and we actually now have somebody on speech therapy. Aquatherapy was launched in October, kind of shut it down a little bit with the weather being a little bit cooler. And then, I can't stress this enough, a sustained focus on fall prevention and mobility improvement. I'm going to share a little bit of the personal story with you. Over the holidays, my father fell. My father is going to be 93. He fell, and he broke his hip. He had surgery. I went searching. He lives in San Antonio. I went searching in San Antonio for rehab care. Needless to say, San Antonio area is left wanting for quality care. So, I brought my dad to Majestic Oaks. Why? Well, I do this for a living. If I can't offer it to my own family, really, what good am I, right? Now, I share that story because while we all agree none of us ever want to go into skilled nursing, none of us want to go into rehab, I'm willing to take that risk with my own parents to do that. Now, that's why I was absent over the holidays. He is doing incredibly well. In fact, he's kind of enjoying it a little bit too much. He really is. He's, Joe, the food is really good here. But his experience, and I haven't missed a day until Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday I had the board meeting he knew I was going to miss, and it gets to be a very, very busy time. My experience with my own father at Majestic Oaks has been incredible. Not good. It's been incredible. The staff that we have there do incredible work. Think about that. I brought my dad 1,200 miles to put him there. You don't have to go a quarter mile to get there. So, give them a chance. While you might want to beat them up a little bit, and while, yes, they might have some service faults, and they'll try to do the best they can for service recovery, he's going to be out of there where we thought he wouldn't make it. He would burn more than 100 days. He's probably going to be out of there in another 45 days. He's going to be out. So that's a testament to Majestic Oaks. So when I stand up here and brag about them, it comes from here and here, because the numbers don't lie. Fair enough? Catherine Mitchell, where are you at? There you are. Fair enough. All right, operations. This is going to get a little bit, we're going to talk a little bit about where you see us talk about Certus. We're only mentioning it. We mean PMC. We had the executive director there. We worked that out with Certus. They wanted her back. And as a result, what we did is we took Amanda Delgado, who was at Oakview Suites. She wanted that opportunity, so we put her over there. Why? It's our leadership, it's our personnel. They know our systems and our processes, and they know what our expectations are, so that was a good deal. Now, Amanda Logan, before you all just throw spears at me, Amanda Logan is a very, very smart woman. She is very well versed in a lot of areas. She has taken the wellness liaison job and just made it everything we thought it would be and it could be. But she also, too, has aspirations. So as part of her goals last year, I required her to become core certified for assisted living. And she did. She did that, I believe, if I remember the exact date, she passed the exam on November 8th. Now look at that. That's what we call succession planning. So Amanda has just been accepted by ACA as of yesterday afternoon. So Amanda Logan is moving in as the administrator of Oakview Suites. And before you panic, we hired Sarah Tracy. She was recommended by Amanda. She smacked the interviews and did incredibly well. So Amanda's old position as wellness liaison has already been filled. She's done an incredible job. Many of you have been able to take advantage of that service. We appreciate you using that service. That's what it's there for. So we don't expect to lose a lot of momentum. We need to train Amanda Logan as an administrator now, which I think she will do incredibly well very quickly. She will train Sarah when Sarah starts. Right now we have a tentative date on Sarah for the 26th, which is next Monday. So all of that, all those pieces moved very, very quickly for us. And I was thrilled I was able to go ahead and talk about them today so you know what's going on. Premier Memory Care, they're now holding monthly town hall meetings with employees. They've created an educational calendar. We've purchased new uniforms. They had their own uniforms, and I know people, many of you have been in there already, and you'll see Certus, and they're still wearing the Certus. In the next few weeks, all that will go away. They will be JKV uniforms. We've introduced administrative tools for administration. We standardized their pricing structure. They negotiated on everything. Now we go with a standardized pricing, and that's what we continue to move. And we've already talked about the sales counselor has resigned, and we're looking for a replacement. We're thrilled that Activities has embraced it. They went and sang Christmas songs on December 15th. There is a resident family meet and greet on January 27th. I started my presentation with, we're trying to get you in there also, but we're going to probably have to break it down. We're trying to figure out how we break that down because we can't have 680 residents going all over there at the same time. Oak Park Pharmacy takes over on February 1st. The therapy services, we've canceled all their old contracts. We take it over lock, stock, and barrel. We use our own providers for that. And therapy services will take over very soon. February 19th is an extended date. And then they had an ARNP working out of that building. We have canceled that contract, and we will take that over on April 7th. These are just some of the different things. The big thing in regards here is we don't have a security guard over there, and there's not plans to add a position for a security guard. So you will see that we have approved a project, and we're investing in cameras on around the building because it's not on our campus, on or around the building. Those cameras will go to each gatehouse. So the gatehouse's camera screens will expand a little bit to be able to see around that building. That is one for security, for the patients, for the employees, and obviously for our organization. Security already does rounds over there, but people see a security vehicle coming, they scatter. They won't, so you'll soon, I'm going to guess within the next 30 days, see cameras on the corners in the buildings and various spots on the buildings. Little fun other things that we're doing, we had the building pressure washed. It was kind of nice, their security system kind of sunk up with our badges because we have a little chip in our badges. All we had to do is reconfigure it so now our employee badges scan and open the doors. It is a secure building. You're not getting in unless you have a badge or you have some kind of fob. That is to protect the residents and keep the residents safe. Gas lines, that too is another. The gas lines got smaller than they should have before their generators run on natural gas. That was a gift. And they have 3 generators. They're running at 20% capacity. Anybody who knows generators need to run about 80% capacity to actually make them feel like they're working. And you're actually doing a generator no good if you run it very low and don't run it on capacity, don't run a load test. So we're in the process of doing that. I think that project will be completed in about the next week. And then IT infrastructure, they were using Spectrum for their internet provider and just passing information back and forth. There's no firewalls, there's no really, so we've put a pretty substantial investment in IT for firewalls. Eventually, you will see us probably run fiber down Veterans Memorial, get the permission from our property to that property to make sure that they're in our system. We're going to do it another way. We're going to do it VPN, and they'll have to go through 2 firewalls. But that's all things that are kind of doing. We told you we'd kind of be transparent, kind of keep you up to speed, and that's what we're doing. Nursing services, sometimes you never know. So we created some handheld devices so employees know when the call lights are going off a little bit better. We've created a nursing huddle. These are all kind of standards of practice within our system that we do. Created shower and laundry schedules for residents, completed education on caregivers in regards to incident reports and documentation, and the list goes on. We've continued to get really good positive feedback from the residents, families, staff, and it's helping make it a smoother transition. Some people that are there are not necessarily in the most appropriate level of care. If you know the regulations, you can have a stage 2 pressure ulcer, and if you have a stage 2 pressure ulcer, you can stay in assisted living. Once that goes to a stage 3, you can't stay in assisted living. Well, what they were trying to do something to maintain their occupancy, which I can completely understand. That's just not the way we work. So we've taken a couple of residents over there, brought them over to Majestic Oaks to get them to rehab and get them better, and then we'll send them back over there. And as we like to say, when we purchased it, we purchased the property. Anything else we get is a bonus. In the building, and this was the board, we've had residents. In fact, I believe, and I shadowed at resident council. Resident council shared their thoughts with me. We had a board meeting last night. The board went and toured yesterday afternoon. All the feedback that we received is it's been incredibly positive, and we're very appreciative. So when we got the building, we got the good bones of it. So Oakview Suites, we've already talked about some of this. We talked about the migration of the water. Rooms 309 and 315 have been completed. Residents have already moved back in. 311 and 313 are expected by the end of the month. Majestic Oaks, the big thing is they're done. All the renovations to all the common areas, they're doing a punch-out list. Later this week, I think it's Friday, they're doing their punch-out list. That project was able to come in under budget, and so we've decided we're going to do a couple of other improvements. Pause that button. Let me go back over to PMC a little bit. They have a couple of courtyards to allow memory residents to wander. You will see that we're going to change that. We are going to remove the grass, and we're going to put artificial turf in those courtyards. It just makes it easier, better for the residents. It's less maintenance, and it's just going to have a much better appearance. So that's what we're going to do there. I'm going to pause that, hit this one. We're looking at the courtyards at Majestic Oaks also, because we have trees that have grown, and what it's done to some of the path and some of the concrete is it's cracked it, and it's made it a trip hazard. So I anticipate we'll be removing a good portion of the trees. If we do plant some greenery, it'll be in the center area. But we're looking at putting artificial turf in their courtyards also. Again, aesthetically more appealing, better for the residents, easier for them to be able to walk on, eliminates trip hazards. Because what did we just talk about? Falling. We're appreciative to the foundation for the help in purchasing additional mattresses. They helped us. We went to the top of the line. We had to select a mattress. They said, no, how about you just, and so we went to the top of the line mattress, and the residents at Majestic Oaks are are loving it. It's a very good mattress, and we're very thankful to the foundation. So thank you, foundation. So this is the last time I'm showing it to you, is why I'm showing it to you. Everything is completed. All right, some of this stuff, this is, again, their numbers. It just shows what their turnover was. 21.37, industry average is 53. And they've had a very good year, even though they were down 15 beds. They still had a very, very good year. Their kitchen inspections they don't get any deficiencies. If you've ever met Tina, who's the certified dietary manager over there, she's an incredible woman. Now, I want you to help me to keep her. She wants to retire, but so did Vicki. So, Majestic Oaks, they received their recreditation. This is kind of just a summary for the year. They received a recreditation through Joint Commission. They did not have any deficiencies in 2025 through complaints or survey. They ranked number 4 in the state of Florida for this year. And Majestic Oaks, this is their overall 5-star. Overall inspection is 5-star. Health inspection is 5-star. Staffing is 5-star. And quality measures. Know what that tells me? When somebody comes and says, hey, Majestic Oaks is short-staffed. Short-staffed according to whom? CMS. We send our payroll to them. We're rated against everybody else, not only nationally, but in the state of Florida. And for staffing, 5-star. Now, we've talked about this before. The board of directors doesn't tell me how to do it. They just tell me what needs to be done. Majestic Oaks needs to maintain a 5-star. They don't tell me how to staff the building. They don't tell me what I need to do here or there. They don't tell me even how much money I need to spend. But remember, at the end of the day, no margin, no mission. So we pour a lot of money into staffing at Majestic Oaks because it's going to be you, maybe, one day that's there, and I don't want to hear from you, Joe, you're short-staffed. I've heard that my entire career. An objective source tells us, no, we're not. And for Majestic Oaks, they decided they were putting memory boxes back with their renovation for the memory unit. Oakview Suites, we launched the new universal caregiver. Now, what we did is, I'm just going to kind of shortchange some of this. When we created our private home health and we expanded home health extended services, we hired a bunch of people. Now, we knew we didn't have home health to be able to provide for these people to work at this particular time, but we believed. What we do is to keep these people busy full-time so they don't leave, is we spread them out. We will spread them out to Oakview Suites. We'll spread them out to PMC. We'll send them to Majestic Oaks to assist in duties that they can do. So when they show up for work, if they don't have a full-time case to do, we have work for them to do, and that's where we diffuse those people off to. Essentially what we did is we created our own staffing pool for PCAs and for CNAs. So when you see if you see other people walking around, that's what they've done. They don't have necessarily a job to do specifically assigned today, so we send them. Oakview Suites is preparing for an ACUS inspection anytime. Again, we've not used agency. We've used agency one place in our campus. You want to guess where it was? Where? Pharmacy. For whatever reason, Mitch likes to take time off. No, Mitch is going to be off on a medical leave while we have the full-time position filled. We have the part-time position. We have about 5 shifts that require a pharmacist that we need to fill. And so that's the only place anywhere on campus that we've ever used agency. Now, so when you see Mitch, give him a little bit of grief. And of course, I'm just kidding. But Majestic Oaks, Oakview Suites, PMC, we don't use agency, and we haven't used agency. This just explains what we've already talked about. We've had 37 inquiries since we've done the program. We've provided services to 21 residents. We average 67 hours a day for extended care services. That helps pay. It's just going to, and we've created a universal program for that pool of employees. And May through November, we've had a positive NOI, net operating income, from the program, which is always a good thing. Because if you want to give me grief about something, it'll be because that's taking money, not giving money. So it's added to our bottom line. Campus services, fun stuff. You all know this. The ladies' luncheon is February 4th. I haven't received my invitation yet, ladies. Super Bowl party, an evening celebration, do-it-yourself pizza party. I'm kind of interested in that. Wine tasting and the chef's cook-off. Love is in the air. February 27th is National Strawberry Day. Oh, that's the cook-off's not the same day. Okay. Valentine's Day dance, and then a bunch of additional fun stuff. Gatehouse 2. Now, Gatehouse 2 is completely open. It almost took an act of God, yes. Security manager position is open. We're currently recruiting for that position. Talina has issued a challenge to January residents who attend the most classes. February, the residents who uses fitness equipment the most. And March is the resident who invites and brings the most neighbors to a fitness class. Now, I issued a challenge. I know you think I forgot about it, but I didn't. I issued a challenge. What I'm going to ask you to do is either send it to Talina, and I'm going to ask you to send it to Talina. If you exercised, if you knew you'd exercised and you did something extra, send your sign-in sheets to Talina and say, just, this is for Joe. And I will tally, and I will tell who the winners are, and we will have a nice little gift for you. So I didn't forget about it. But as part of some of the other things that we've done, is we've decided to create a little bit of different culture throughout the quarters. So January through March is quarterly cultural awareness. It's the Nordic and Winter Wellness. Isn't that funny? Coincides with the Winter Olympics. Isn't that cool? You'd almost think we did it on purpose. Reflect, replenish, and renew. We know that different cultures all have a different wellness theme, have something that they do. I am not into the cold plunge yet. I can't do that. You know, plunging yourself into the ice. Now, pause there. One of the shows I do like to watch is Wild Homestead on YouTube. Anybody seen that, Wild Homestead? All right, Wild Homestead on YouTube. This guy has bought 40 acres, and he's living off his 40 acres, and he's living without electricity and water, and he's figuring it all out on his own. And he's plunging himself into the cold water in Ontario, Canada. They say it is incredibly healthy to do that. I don't like cold, that's why I moved to Florida. In fact, I've also just kind of threatened my wife that I'm going to move farther south because it's too cold right now. So, but January is Healthy Weight Awareness Month, and that's Talina is going to do her coffee with next Thursday. Let me ask you, just by the people, you get to vote because you've come. Do you like the time of this meeting? Is 9:30 good? If you changed it, would you change it before or later? Later? Earlier? You don't want 9 o'clock? 6:30? Mr. Rudolph, it was Mr. Rudolph that said 6:30. I get to drive the bus. Leave it the time? Leave it at 9:30? All right, so we'll leave it at 9:30. If you said 10, I'd move it to 10. Okay, February, of course, is Heart Month, and Advent Health presents cardiology services on February 9th. Technology, Lil, getting to know your smartphone. I'm telling you that these, the digital drop-ins, anybody attend the digital drop-ins? We're exercising the demons now. Digital drop-ins have been incredibly popular. So we've gotten really good feedback. So Scott and Chris have now enjoyed starting to do them. Bring your smartphone, your tablet, your laptop. Makes no difference, bring it. They'll give you one-on-one support. And they actually like getting out and being able to help like that. So I want to make sure you understand that and do that. That's something that they do. Grief support, you all know the grief support stuff, right? Survey Stance. Everybody knows what Survey Stance is, right? It's the little tablet. As you leave the dining room, you hit one of the faces on your level of satisfaction. And so Cranes, we started that in April. It started out just under 94%. And December is where? 97%. 97. And there are over 1,100 people who actually complete the survey. And it does take 10 seconds for it to reset. So if you're leaving with a party of people, it takes 10 seconds for it to process the information and move on. So this is Cranes. And the line doesn't lie. It is what it is. I didn't change the numbers, and those numbers are what it is. So those are pretty good numbers. We're pleased with the improvement. This is the grill. Now, the grill started out high at almost 98, and now is the 98.8. Again, these are numbers, they don't lie. We use these numbers to determine what kind of changes we potentially need to make, or if we even need to make changes. Now, if you're looking at me, and you're looking at these numbers, what needs to change? I'm not going to point you out, Mr. Hardy, but really, what does need to change? On accident, you'll have more meals. Somebody's going to get a bad meal. It'll happen. And you know who it happens to? It's going to happen to you. But 98.8, so just to make sure I didn't squeeze the numbers, the red bar, and what we did is we only did July because in July we started measuring both. The blue bar line is SH Cranes, the red bar line is Oakview Grill. The green line represents the average, not the average between the two. What I did is I took the total because there's not the same number of surveys in each, and that line. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a grid that goes from 93 to 100, and it goes by ones. On the right side, you'll see that's the average. That is the green line. Make sense to everybody? So you can see the grill satisfaction is high and has stayed high. And you can see after October, even the average has gone up. So while we kind of wonder what happened in August, September, especially October in the grill, but that still is 95% in the grill. So again, my challenge is if you were me, what would you change? Food for thought, pun intended. All right, facilities, we've got some really fun stuff. You know, we spent $100,000 replacing sod. I know there were some people we missed. Some people let us know that. We came back and we took care of that. We've kind of reorganized things. I know you've heard this. What you don't know is it is on my weekly list to do rounds. And yes, I have noticed the turf at Valencia. It looks like it could use a little bit more water. These are some of the things that they are doing during the month of January. They're still trying to do perimeter cleanup. They're doing a bunch of mulching activities. They're setting up for having a very good year. Now, what did I find out? I didn't let this go by its side, but I did a little bit of research. Some of the issues that we have were chinch bugs. Now, did you know that chinch bugs have developed a resistance to the chemicals that they're using? I didn't know that. But I did talk to somebody at the University of Florida that, and I talked to a number of other people that said that. Chinch bugs in not all cases, but an increasing number of cases, have become resistant to the chemicals that are using. They were using one, they switched over, and it's developing a resistance to that. So, we're going to try to. I'm not promising, in light of that information, when you have as many new acres that have been done and how chinch bugs work, that has kind of set a new platform for me that we want to make sure that we don't create hot spots, because that's where chinch bugs go. When the lawn gets hot and they hit hot spots, that's kind of where they go. Now, I, like you, fired my lawn company this year because I had the very same problem. So not only did it happen here, but it happened to me personally. And I kind of been through this before, and I know I didn't want to spend a ton of money, but I knew what I could do to kind of offset some of those expenses as long as I'm patient. That said, we haven't let the effects over the last 2 years with the grass go unnoticed. That's why we spent such a large chunk of money replacing sod. I'm hoping we got it all. The sod on Valencia Landing is different, and I still stay by my guns. It's called Provista. It's supposed to be very good. We can't create some of our own problems. So if you're living on Valencia Landing and you see that we didn't come 1 week and cut grass, it's because that was going to have more ill effects than it was going to provide positive. Because you cut that grass starts drying out, it creates additional heat. Do your research, go to University of Florida, go to Scott's website on Provista grass, do your own research if you'd like. There's a couple of residents that do their lawn themselves and do a phenomenal job. And we've kind of watched what they've been doing, and hopefully we will get this knocked. This hasn't gone unnoticed, and we're going to continue with our focus on there. But from our research, that's what I found. More mowing performed as conditions require. That means if we don't need to cut, we won't. Don't call the office and say, you didn't come by this week and cut my grass, and I think my grass needs cut. Well, again, if you're on Valencia and we don't think your grass needs cut, we're not going to cut it. So to you, pardon the expression, it might look like hell. But we just spent $100,000, and we think we created some of our own problems with that. Projects, fun stuff. The apartments in the Commons project that got kicked back off this week. Gatehouse 2 is completed. We're going to work on the demolition. The contractor is working to get that area permitted. And last night, this is hot off the press, the board has approved paving the roads at John Knox. Now, before you say, Joe, you're going to do it on the cheap, please understand. If I want to widen the roads, that means I need to move the sidewalks. If I need to move the sidewalks, that means I need to take the utilities that are underneath the sidewalks, and I need to move those too. I'm not doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to have a company come in, they're going to take off about 2 inches of layer asphalt, and then they're going to repave it and put 2 inches back. Now, I don't know when it's going to happen. We're going to guess probably March. It's going to take them a little while to get things going. That means we're going to try to get them to do it. We may give them a long day to get stuff done. But guess what that means? If you like to sleep during the day, go take a vacation, take a cruise or something. Because there's going to be noise. Now, I know those guys like to work at nights, but I know that if I did that, I would be hanging from a yard arm. That we won't do. But please be understanding that we're going to have to divert traffic. We're going to do the best we can. We're going to start staging this and planning this out. That's going to take a little bit of time to do. But yeah, we will be repaving the roads for the village. clubhouse, we're still working on the patio tabletops. I have a plan for that. And then this was the last one that just came up, pool deck cleanup. There are spots on the pool deck that have been kind of bleached out. There's mold on other things, so we're going to work through that, figure out what we need to do regarding that. So you can see exactly how much it's going to cost us, right? Now, this just kind of gives you an idea. These are the two bids that we had. Surprised the board didn't take the lowest bid. It's about $666,463. So when you go to trivia on Tuesday night and somebody asks you that as a question, you'll know exactly what the answer is. And the important thing is we confirmed our pricing and the board had approved the job last night. This is what that looks like. This is a map of the village. Everything that's blue is everything that will get paved. Now, before you jump in there and say, Joe, well, this is a great time to add additional parking spots for disabled or people that are handicapped. Why, it would be, we're not changing the overall slope on things. We do that. Once I touch that, I have to touch it for everything, and neither one of us have enough money for that. So it even goes through Oak Park. The only thing that will not be done is Valencia Landing. But Holly Branch, Floribunda, North Lake, all the way through the village, coming even in the front gate. Questions? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, did she tell you?
Hi, Joe.
Hey.
Whoa, that was loud. Will the driveways get repaved also?
I believe yes, but let me confirm that. Where the parking spots are, if they haven't been recently, yes, those will be paved also. Yes, ma'am.
Well, you mentioned all about the halls. And my thing is, which I've brought up so many times, in fact, I've talked to you personally, are you going to include the pit with the artificial plants and the stained rug and the old waterfall? And it's so embarrassing. Are you including that?
No. So did I lie to you then, or did I lie to you now? I'm
No.
teasing you. I'm teasing you, yes.
Because
That's-
if you said no, I'm coming up and hitting you.
Well, I knew I had you because we talked about it just recently. And because I thought of you, that's why I added commons. It was normally it's been announced as the apartment project, but it's now, I put the commons in there because we're going to do, it includes the dining room, Crane's dining room. It also includes the pit area. It includes getting rid of the fountain and the flowers and all that other stuff. Yes, I had to tease you. It's the first of the year. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Joe. I don't know if this is protocol or if this is just an error. When a resident falls, that's a single person, I don't know what the rule is or the regulation for when you contact the family. Incident happened, somebody fell, was taken to the hospital like at 5-ish. Your day staff is gone. Your evening staff comes on medically, your EMTs or your paramedics. The family was not notified that the person was taken to the hospital till the next morning. That's about 14 hours. Now, in this case, it was not critical, but it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, and it was a Thursday, so if it's a Friday, does that daytime staff is the one that called, like Stephanie called the next morning. Is the night staff, medical staff, not capable of calling up the medical surrogate and say, hey, just let you know this person was taken to the hospital? That could be an issue if it happened Friday and not notification till Monday.
Okay. That was pretty non-specific, right? Now, procedurally, yes, anytime somebody falls and seeks medical treatment, we will go ahead and we call the family. Now, they didn't call the family, or they tried to contact the family and didn't make a connection?
No attempt was made till the next morning. I confirmed that, yeah.
That you're aware of?
Yes. No, that's with the person, with calling, you know.
With what person?
Your staff.
Okay. So then what I'm going to ask you to do is when we're done, offline, come and chat with
Sure.
me. Now, procedurally, what we do is we call the next person on your list is who we will call and let them know that you've sought medical treatment, unless you tell us, no, I don't want anybody called. Now, in this particular case, I will have to dig into it, but procedurally, that's what we do. That's our protocol. Why it wasn't done? Again, we have to dig into. There are some times where there is service issues. Somebody thinks they've done something or forgets what they're supposed to do or is in a hurry. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not thinking anybody is in a really big hurry. But again, let me come chat with me. Yes, ma'am.
I just finished 2 months of outside therapy because of knee surgery.
Mhm.
I could not get that therapy here at John Knox, even though I wanted. That required 2 bus trips each day because I could not drive for 2 months. Now, I have discussed this with Nicole. She said she's working on it, and I would like to know how our therapy can be covered by insurance, because I know there are my insurance, Florida Healthcare, will not cover therapy here at John Knox. So I would like to know what could be done.
Okay, that's not our issue. That's Florida Healthcare's issue. Now, how do we combat this? How can you help us? First of all, the first thing you tell them is, I'm a resident of John Knox Village. I want to have my therapy done there because I don't want to have to take these extra trips. I can get transportation at no cost on campus. Those are the talking points we've asked for people to do, because Florida Healthcare has no incentive to utilize us as a provider. They've made deals wherever they've made deals, and those are the deals they want to stick with. Now, for our own people, we address that in regards to you is we need you to be firm. We need you to go to the doctor, ask the doctor if you can use John Knox, have him write the order for John Knox. You go to your healthcare provider and tell them you're a resident of John Knox, because it happens the same thing if you've got a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to use Majestic Oaks. They'll tell you, nope, we already have a provider in that area and you can't use John Knox. Our way around that has been, you need to tell them, I'm a resident, I live at John Knox, and that's where I want to go. And then they'll give us authorization out of network for that, but it's kind of a separate case for each and every individual. If they don't allow us into their insurance plan, which we're not a huge provider for them, they do carve-outs in that particular case, but you have to be insistent with them. In other words, beat the crap out of them and don't take no for an answer. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hi, Joe. 2 different questions. The first one is Fountain Lake and accessing the island and the gazebo.
Mm-hmm.
Just be interested in whatever the longer range plans are for that. I yearn to go out and sit in the gazebo again someday. But other question, the Premier Memory Care. How do we explain to the big bad world or how the criteria for someone to be in that memory care versus the memory care at Majestic Oaks? Is it a matter of what other kinds of nursing care they need? And financially, I mean, I just get some questions from like friends in DeLand, and just curious how it works financially. Is it the same as assisted living now here? A little quick and dirty summary maybe
Sure.
for us.
You're all over it. Okay. Oakview Suites. Oakview Suites is whatever memory care product we have going currently at Oakview Suites is eventually going to go away. That's why we purchased PMC, because anytime somebody has dementia-related care, that's where they go. Now, what's the difference between Majestic Oaks and PMC? Sometimes in situations, as you cycle through, you go through the different levels of dementia, as you progress in dementia, care needs, nursing needs, increase. Now, you may still be able to do this, but you may not have what we refer to as any safety awareness. Let me give you a case in point. Somebody walks around. Going through the process of dementia, a lot of times people with dementia will fall because they don't have that trigger telling them that they're tired. So they just keep walking and walking and walking, and they don't understand that they're getting tired until the point where they just fall. That's what we refer to as safety awareness. In those particular cases, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get them in Majestic Oaks if we can. The second part of that is, and I'll be very plain about this, Medicaid people get dementia too. Believe it or not, it is no respecter of whatever your payer source is. You could be private pay, fine, but Medicaid people get dementia too. We see this as a very big need in providing dementia care across the board. And if somebody needs that care, we want to be able to get it to them. That building by itself is private pay and is going to stay private pay as long as I can make that happen. That's why we're going to keep dementia services at Majestic Oaks, because our reimbursement at Majestic Oaks under Medicaid is how much? It's $306. Do the math. That's more than we're reimbursed over there, but that's why the care needs have an important component at Majestic Oaks. So if somebody has medical needs along with dementia, Alzheimer or dementia-related illness, we will stick them at Majestic Oaks. If they don't, or private pay, we're going to put them over in memory care. Oakview Suites will now go to just a standard social, what we refer to as a standard license for assisted living. People who just need that extra supervision, that little bit of extra help, has a deficiency in more than 2 activities of daily living. Why? Because if you have a deficiency in more than 2 of your activities of daily living, for many of you, your long-term care policy will pop in and will pay for your care. Go check your policy. If your long-term care policy, that's the same kind of criteria that we use. So do we want everybody to move to assisted living? No, but we want people who need it. Why would we do that? We sometimes can extend you in assisted living and slow down the progression of whatever disease or whatever your health condition is. So where you might just go and you might go to assisted living and stay 3 years. If you wait that additional year and things start to accelerate, sometimes I have had people bypass assisted living altogether and go right to Majestic Oaks. And then they're very unhappy because, hey, I don't have dementia, I don't have any other issues, healthcare issues, and I want to stay where I'm at. Well, you can't. Physically, you can't. So there's a lot of things in play there, payer source in addition, and part of our mission is also to enhance the lifestyle of residents of the greater community of Orange City, DeLand, Deltona, DeBary. We have people, it's not uncommon for me to get calls weekly from either friends, board members, or you saying, hey, Joe, I have a friend, I want to be able to get him into Majestic Oaks. It happens, and it happens frequently. Now, without that connection, without their connection to you, do I have any obligation? No. But we're proud of the care that we give and we deliver, but we're also very selective. Remember, we don't take people that are the 43-year-old motor vehicle accident at Majestic Oaks. Our admission criteria right now is 62 and older. 62 and older. So we eliminate a lot of the behavior issues, a lot of the homeless issues, a lot of those other little things, and because of that, we create a much better environment for yourselves, which is our primary priority, and other older adults in the greater community of Orange City. Now, that was a long answer, but there's a lot of factors at play. And right now, the group that's behind that door over there, that's the Life Care Committee. They're talking about maybe you, or probably more appropriately, your neighbors, and what kind of care needs to be delivered to keep you as independent as possible, as long as possible. That's what they're behind that door discussing. Because they're here to make sure that you get the care that you deserve and you paid for. Now, we're going to have a disconnect on that. What we think is going to be different than what you think. They're the professionals, and they're really, really good at what they do, as evidenced by what I just showed you. Yours is you're talking from here because you don't want to do that. Long answer to a very short question, but I'm happy to talk about this, as you can tell, anytime. Other questions? I'm not doing anything with Fountain Lake. The Fountain Lake is one really big hurricane from going back underwater. No, the true answer is I don't know what we're going to do with that. We don't want to put residents at risk. The water levels across Central Florida are down. Everywhere water levels are down. I don't know how much they're down, but my concern is now drought. If we don't start getting rain, or depending on what the storm season is going to look like, it's inaccessible more than it is accessible. And are we just, again, going to spend money into a money pit that is going to get flooded, and it's not going to be worth it? So that's kind of where I'm at on that, and it hasn't raised up to that level of I need to address. Again, I'm just being forthright and direct.
Hi, Joe. Do you have any timeline on the demolition of the cottages around Floribunda that got flooded?
ASAP. What we're waiting on is we've already selected a company, we've approved their bid, they've gone through, they've walked through them. I believe there's some remediation that they need to do. And I didn't chat with my source on this one, but the tentative report that we have is that they found asbestos in the cottages. So that means they have to take care of that, and they have to remove that before we can take them down. But we've cut off all the services. Duke has cut off all the energy to them. We've taken stuff out of them that we want. Some of those units had new AC units. We've removed those. So we're just waiting for the company to get the permit and get the approval to move forward. So yeah, as soon as that happens, then it'll happen quickly. And we'll give you, and how will we let you know that?
Well,
God, you guys get it. Yes, ma'am.
Can you clarify for me about comment cards? I like to write them for people who have done service at my unit above and beyond my expectations. When I go to Cubigo, it says that I'm making a suggestion. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm patting somebody on the back. And secondly, I want to know, do the employees ever hear of that somebody said attaboy on their behalf?
I can't speak for every occasion that would be. Cubigo was just a universal, the word suggestion is just kind of a universal term used versus complaint, concern, grievance. We just came up with. We could have used comment, but we just used suggestion. It's just softer language. The other thing is, like all those little postings that you put on the back when you do Employee Appreciation Day, those all get divided, and those go directly to the employee, because I get my share and I personally hand those to my people. I know many of the directors do the very same thing. What our policy is anytime you put a nice suggestion, comment, positive, a pat on the back, in Cubigo, they're supposed to print it off and they're supposed to give it to the employee so they know. I know that dining services is normally pretty good, but I will put that on my list. I meet with all my directors on a weekly basis, and I will put that on my agenda to ask them what they do. So when I come back in February, you can ask me that question again. So I will go and confirm that that is indeed what is supposed, that it's what's we say is taking place is taking place. Okay?
I went to Cubigo College last week, and they actually addressed this, and they said that the comments are given first to the manager, and then they pass it on to the employee. It usually happens within a week.
Right. Exactly. Anything else? All right, not seeing anything. Thank you for showing up. Happy New Year. And let's have another great year. Thank you for your time.